Okay, so we have one category left. Though I shouldn't say we have one category left, because there's never been anything but this one category all along. Now, here in America, there is a very misguided group of people who say that Buddhism is about effacing the self. Of course, we all know that in certain branches of Buddhism, it's about transcending the self. And my point here is that the word effacing and the word transcending can be used to describe the same behavior. Is there any difference between race-transcending and race-effacing? No. They are both the act of distancing oneself from race. And what Cornel West is doing here is what is referred to as pouring old wine into new jugs, which is why the other two categories are empty, because there's only been one category all along. Cornel West puts forward the idea that the race-transcending prophet is the ideal form of black leadership. However, because he is acting as though these categories were forced on him, despite the fact that he's the one doing the analysis, none of the other categories are analyzed in light of his ideal. The first category is labeled a failure because of its failure to adhere to race. The second category is labeled a failure because of its pretending to adhere to race, but actually failing to adhere to race. And then, in the third category, Cornel West puts forward the idea that the ideal form is to transcend race or leave race behind. If race transcending, that is, leaving race behind, is the ideal form of leadership, then the failure of the first two styles of black leadership had nothing to do with their attitudes towards race, since those two styles were already in line with the ideal form. And let us not forget that if race transcending, leaving race behind, is the ideal form of leadership, then doesn't that argue against the major argument of the work, and that is the continued importance of race in American society? Throughout all of this, there is a tremendous amount of other issues that are never discussed. So many issues that they are too numerous for me to name here. One of them is that racism and the racist are never brought into any focus here either. Are these black leaders freely choosing to distance themselves from their race and their original constituency upon assuming elected office? Is that behavior voluntary? Is it free of pressure and free of duress? Isn't catering to a black constituency before the election and then distancing yourself from them and catering to a white constituency after the election, whether that behavior is voluntary or involuntary, isn't that just a way of negating black votes after the election? A way of giving vent to black voices before the election, but silencing them after?